Hey, it's Shabes, and welcome to another edition of Anitube Digest, where we go over the best and not so best anime YouTube videos to come out this week. In this case, from September 20th, over a week ago, to the 27th, yesterday. Because my schedule is now kind of shifted a bit, but we'll get through it. It's also getting kind of late, so I don't want to turn the light on, so we're going to go through it quick. First are the videos that I thought were not good. You could do better. I know you can. Come on. What was that? Joey, the Anime Man. Fall 2019 anime season, what will I be watching? And the title is very key there because it's kind of instrumental to my problem with this video. It's 36 minutes, and he doesn't get to an anime that he will be watching this season until halfway in. Like 19 minutes in, does he finally find an anime that's like, oh yeah, I'll watch that. So seasonal videos, everyone has a different style, and they all have different times at which they'll do this. Some people will do it right when the season starts, when the first episode of everything's out. Some will do it a couple episodes in. Some people will do it towards the end of the season, like we'll see a little later. But then there's other people like Chibi and Joey and Gigguk that go through the live chart and look through the stuff that they think is going to be interesting and, you know, kind of speculate some stuff. And I do this myself, and I like to see other people do it. And so I think this is a really cool prospect. You just didn't go any deep with it whatsoever. All he does for every single entry is look at the cover art, which there can be multiple ones that a promotional thing comes out with. Looks at the studio, which for this particular season, the vast majority of them are being done by very random studios. So there's several instances where he's like, "Oh, I don't know what show these guys made. So these shows," and I'm like, "What? You have no." So and he doesn't bother to look anything up. Not like the only thing he looks up is how to pronounce this one thing because he's so prideful in being able to pronounce Japanese well. And so he always pronounces the full Japanese title, however long they are or whatever. And he always seems like he's really happy about that. And good for him. But there was this one instance where the title had like a tue, like Tueee. And yeah, that is kind of weird for a thing. And that's the only thing he looks up. He Google translates that or just looks at the official like kanji title and it's tue, and he's like, you know, as if he really wanted to make sure that you knew that he can pronounce Japanese really well. I live in Japan. But he doesn't look at the PVs at all, which I personally think is the biggest teller of a show's potential. Doesn't look at any of the staff at all. It just, the one screen. And sure, it'd be like, oh, if I did that for every show, I'd be here for hours. No, you'd be here for about an hour and a half. Because Digi actually put out his own What Will I Be Watching sort of video. And it was a live feed, no cuts. He could have cut, honestly, in several places. But he and May... there was a dialogue, too, which made it much more engaging. But they went through every single one. And some of it was very shallow, right? They didn't look into it as deep as they could have or whatever. But they gave each one a chance. They gave each one looking at the PV. They looked at the staff. They do the bare minimum, you know, of what I would expect from something like this. I've said this with my explanation point video last time. I don't care if you go through every single one. I just care about this. What I think what says a lot more is the selection that you choose. What do you choose? You know, that to show off in this video like this. And if you're going to spend most of your time talking about why you're not watching the latest season of Hero Academia and Sword Art Online and Food Wars and We Never Learn and all of these shows, no. I don't care. I don't care what you think. Like, that's not so uninteresting, so bland. I just wanted to make talk of this because it's something that I think a lot of people do, and it's something I think people should take more seriously because I think it's a really great format and an important kind of video. Yes, it ages like fucking milk when the shows actually come out, but I think that's really good when we have those initial perceptions recorded early. And so then you have like sleeper hits that come out much later, and we can actually look back on these seasonal videos and be like, oh my gosh, we completely didn't think this show, what is this show, Konosuba, right? You know, and like seeing people's reactions to that, and like, and what they thought was going to be good but wasn't, and it's interesting, and it's a time capsule, and I like that we're doing it. But put more effort into it then, I think. Otherwise, it's just a waste of my time and waste of other people's time, in my opinion. Next, We Heart Giant Robots. Extremely bad, not good anime summer 2019. Now, I gotta say, I really like this idea. Specifically talking about the worst shit. Like, just the worst shit, right? And their style is really cool. They put a fair deal of effort into their editing. It's sort of like Demolition D's, but it has this very distinct vaporwavy, glitchy, synth kind of feel to it, and it's very unique. And I really like their presentation, regardless of the video itself, which I thought was really mean-spirited. And look, it's hard to talk about bad anime and not come off as mean-spirited. I get that. I was just coming off of doing some mean-spirited stuff, like some of the shows that I'm talking about in the upcoming Summer 1989 project. I was thinking about how cynical I can be versus, you know, like figuring that balance out. But like, what really made this kind of hard to watch was you repeated yourself like 4 or 5 different times. One of the they talked about Ai Ferete, and he's like, it's just Shield Hero. And then they do this other isekai, I think it's Overlord Retry, Demon Lord Retry, and he's like, it's just Overlord. And then did this, and you just repeat yourself. And yeah, maybe that was the intention, and it's like, look, they're all the same with different whatever, but it doesn't make it for a good viewing experience. If you want to convey that point, make it fun, make it like funny or engaging or like something, but like adding the auto tune, like the auto voice, because you're like, oh, these shows don't put any effort in, neither will I. But like, you're still putting effort into the video, because you don't want to break that aesthetic you have of like the glitchiness. It's pretty well edited, but you're putting the effort in. But that's against the point that you're trying to make, which is like, oh, I'll put no effort in. And nobody has fun like that. Nobody has fun. Put more effort into your shit to actually make it fun. Like, show up these shows that you're talking about. Say that I can do it. I know it's kind of pretentious, like I can do it better kind of deal, but like I can make a more fun viewing experience than these shows. I might honestly enjoy some of these shows, watching some of these shows, maybe even for the how bad they are, than watching your actual video, because it's not the fun kind of bad. It's like the really kind of uncomfortable, like, this is kind of annoying and obnoxious. And I think these guys can do really good stuff. I watched their Anituber Anthology entry, and it was really good. And I've seen some of their other videos and they talk about retro shit, right? Like E-Kon and other giant robot stuff. And they have the kind of the old time, like kind of the cynical old person, like, oh, it kind of like Bennett a little bit. But like, you know, I still think they can make pretty good content. But it was very like you said that one of our, it's like a collab, it's like a duo, this channel. And they were like, one of our guys is out for something, and he decided to do a 49 episode show, and so that's why we don't have anything out in a while. And it's like, dude, I'm right there with you. I'm currently working on something that's taking me fucking forever. But that's not an excuse to put out shitty content. Don't do that. Don't do that. And Gigguk, again. Look, I'm sorry to do 2 videos in a row with Gigguk. I had to talk about this hentai in a nutshell video. Okay, I don't watch hentai at all, like on principle, and I'm not actually kidding you. Like, it's, you know, I do different shit, but like, this could have been something I was willing to give this video a chance in a way that was like, all right, he's actually going to talk about it instead of beating around the bush, and kind of a wink to the fans and to the people that do watch hentai and kind of get the in jokes. But this was nothing but like in jokes and hashtag relatable, and I think it could have done much better really articulating the aesthetic of watching hentai, but this came off so generic, like exactly what you expect. Exactly what you expect. I was surprised he didn't mention how bad some dubbed hentai is. Like, oh, Bible Black. Huh? I feel he was bordering on that level of like mediocrity. Like, oh, we fucking heard this before, dude. Like that's not original. Something that kind of bothered me, editing wise, sorry, Bucket Shift, but like he says in the script, Gigguk was like, we're gonna replace all the dicks and boobs with all the stuff with colorful fruit. I'm like, oh, that's kind of neat. And he proceeds to not do that. Not one fucking time. Because the way it's all edited, because like they don't want it to get taken down. The way it's all edited, there's nothing that... Only because I don't recognize the shows myself, because I don't watch hentai, would I know that was hentai. But like there's no way to differentiate some of the stuff you did show that was hentai and stuff that you showed that wasn't hentai, that was just an anime. And there were some things where you said it was an anime, a hentai, and I was like, that's a show I know of. That's not a hentai then. I only know a couple of hentais. I know Kite. I know Harmageddon. It's not Harmageddon. The Legend of the Overfiend. That's. I'm so stupid. Like I only know a couple that I was like, these are worth watching, despite that hentai thing. And I don't know. I feel like this could have been something to kind of change the perception, or at least convince someone like me that doesn't like hentai, or think of all the people. I don't know if these people are actually going to watch your video. But like the people that just don't think anime is great because of the stigma they have, because they think it's all porn, and that's completely because of hentai. So you kind of go there and then kind of touch upon like, oh, it's art, and it's like, yeah, but there's these people, these users on My Anime List and Kitsu that like they specifically watch and document all the hentai they can possibly find, and they try to watch all of it. And I just think that's just so interesting and dynamic. And you could have done stuff to like actually recommend me some stuff, like to actually change my perception. And don't just give me some fucking basic shit like Bible Black or like shit I've already heard of. You know what I mean? Like you gave me some panels and stuff, and you gave me some like you gave some dojins that was like, this is actually really cool. But there could have been way more of that. But it was way too much of the standard jokes that you've already told in other videos about hentai, I feel, and just like a lot of in-jokes and references. He said the thing! Like, that's the kind of video you're making now, and it's to appeal to the basic level, and not actually engage and open people's minds up. You could have said anything about hentai that like people who love hentai probably didn't know about, and maybe let them appreciate it more. Like, I'm cool with you making a video about how you love hentai, but I don't get that. I got, isn't hentai funny? Yeah, demonetized. I'm disappointed, honestly, as someone who doesn't even fucking like this shit. Just shouting out a creator real quick. Some of you may know them. GilLiesHere. Their videos are fucking weird, dude. And something else. It's so trippy, and just expressions of a mood or like art thing. They're kind of AMVs, but like it's songs you've never heard of, and it's a lot of it's footage, and I feel like some of it might be footage that they've taken themselves, not of them, but like of like the place they live, and just every so often like kind of clips of like Mushishi or some other Ghibli thing or something, you know what I mean? And it captures a really specific vibe, and it's almost I really like it. And obviously this stuff is getting criminally underwatched because, it's not necessarily like doing any common denominator thing, but it's just some weird dark web shit. And that's probably an inaccurate way of saying it, and I apologize. But like, I follow them on Twitter too, and they always retweet the coolest shit. Like, it's just this off-brand, like, off-kilter, like, different stuff that you would never thought you knew you would have liked or could exist or whatever, and it's just so surprising all the time. So I do consider Gil's Twitter feed also a bit of a content creation in that regard. I think his Twitter account's also really cool. Just shouting them out. It's really dope. Good to check their stuff out. All right, now to the videos I thought were decent, just okay. Yeah, I just want to give a really quick shout out first of all to the Unknown Otaku this week in Anitube. You talk about one of the videos I'm about to talk about, and a next video, and I just wanted to respond to your response, to my response, to keep the cycle going. It was interesting hearing that you were unscripted for a lot of that. It doesn't sound it, honestly. I think it may be just because of the aesthetic of like a recorded session something. But it's good to hear that, you know, it doesn't take that much effort, and that's cool. But that's just my perception, right? That just shows you the kind of quality that you're kind of putting out. And it's like, huh, I didn't think it was that. Yeah. I'd like to mention that I'm pretty sure Nux did not start the Bakugo is dead meme. He got that from a few. I know that at least one of the people I follow, Shaw is King, she does the r/anime podcast. Those guys, she was tweeting about that for a while before you did, before Nux did. And I guess I think it was like a joke on 4chan or Reddit or something before he picked it up and obviously made it a big deal. But I agree, it's really funny that he made that kind of video and stuff. And it was cool that you bring that sort of stuff up. Just wanted to point that out. I don't think it was him that started this. One of the videos we do talk about with E-Kon, I'm going to talk about it, but I felt that it was hard to follow you in terms of what you were talking about and how to do it, because in terms of visuals, you putting the video on screen and stuff, as someone who hadn't watched the video yet, follow what you were saying, because I kept being distracted visually, and I would have had to, like, I don't know, close my eyes or something. I don't know, that was just a personal thing where, like, it didn't seem syncopated, and I get kind of distracted when the visuals have anything to do. That's why one of the reasons why I don't like exclamation point all that much. And I just found it hard to follow you thematically. Maybe if you put more into your, I don't know, the substantive counter arguments that you were giving made it kind of difficult to follow. But, you know, maybe that's something that I have with my videos. Like, maybe this is hard to follow for some people that haven't watched these videos. Apologize if you do. But then, you know, exactly. I think it's with both of us. It can't really be helped all that much. That's just something I noticed. Maybe try, I don't know. I feel like what I do with having a static image, I'm able to kind of let myself have it kind of be privy to the imagination instead of letting the video play in the background and have it kind of do its own thing. It just felt a little distracting to me personally. And I kind of think that applied to all the videos, the way you have the video playing itself. That's just me personally. You don't have to change anything in particular. That's just something I'm noticing. Okay, Evanito with Fairy Tail is a bad anime, but I love it. And I'm very happy you made this video. And I'm happy you also included plenty of other anime YouTubers. And I think your banter with some of them was kind of funny. The selection was good. And it was interesting to see that many of you guys are actually watching Fairy Tail, because you guys don't talk about it that much. But you also gave perspectives from people who hadn't even been watching it, and they're like, I know it's bad. And it was fun. And you do take a lot of shots at it, as I've heard plenty of times. But it's cool to hear some positive stuff about it, for sure. I like anime positivity as much as the next guy. I've just gotten so smitten with it recently. I get that the thumbnail was how to not kill your protagonist, and that's what you talk about for the majority of this video when it's just you, is kind of like complaining how many retcons there are and how many characters die and then come back, or they're not really dead, you know? And that's totally fair. It's a good thing to explore, although I don't think that necessarily had to do with your title, because I always take it from a person's title. I always look back to their title as like, what is this about? Being a bad anime, and I love it, you're mostly emphasizing how bad it is, but the prevailing idea is that it doesn't matter, you still really like it. And you keep doing this like little lampshade thing where you keep shitting on it, but you're like, but it's okay, it's one of my top 3 favorite anime. And I personally, as someone who has made a video like this before, my JoJo Part 4 video was exactly like this. I spent way too much time shitting on Part 3 to bother explaining why I liked Part 4 so much. So it was kind of similar, where I don't think you spent quite enough time talking about why you love Fairy Tail so much. Is it the characters? How the visual design? Do you like how sexy it is sometimes? More points of why, despite these vast arsenal of shortcomings, you have to also back them up with as much, if not more, of why you liked it. And it's cool if you like Fairy Tail, but you just need more reasons, in my opinion. More specific examples would have been great, because you gave specific examples with these retcon things, and that was awesome as someone who hadn't watched Fairy Tail. But then if you cite some really cool fights, or some really funny moments or stuff like that, and I personally think that would have helped your video a lot more to drive home that prevailing idea that you do actually like it. Instead of just saying, yeah, it sounds like I hate it, but I don't, guys, trust me. You know what I mean? It's just sort of kind of came off to me. But otherwise, I really liked it. Again, you don't see too many anime positivity stuff, especially pertaining to fairy tale. So, enjoyed it. Good job. E-Kon, The Death of Kyoto Animation. Juicy video. And I'm happy somebody made it, because I was expecting somebody to say it, where it's like, guys, I don't think what we're doing is quite right in terms of like celebrating these works that Kyoto Animation has made, but not necessarily acknowledging the people that passed away. Now, for one thing, I don't think he doesn't seem to bring this up. I don't think he cares. They've explicitly said that they don't want the names to be out there. That's their wishes, and a lot of these creators who made these Kyoto Animation videos wanted to respect that. And you blatantly disregard that by talking about one of the staffers that passed away and talking about her backstory. And yeah, it was really tragic, and that's the sort of stuff we should be putting out there. But I don't know if that's exactly the right thing, the right thing to do. And he was very cynical about the Sentai Filmworks donation fund. He's like, look, it's a good cause. I donated to it. But look, guys, this is how much a funeral costs. This is how many people died, and this is how many people got injured. It's not going to be enough. No amount of money. You know what I mean? And he's like, no, it's actually dead. Although I will say, there was a little bit of a weird contradiction, which I'm sure Unknown Otaku had his own contradictions to talk about. Sorry if this is repeating it. One of the things that you bring up that I think is really good is that the shows that people are praising and like, oh no, they made these things and then people who made that died. No. Actually, the studio that burned, a lot of people who passed away had just started at Kyoto Animation. Some of them only just got a handful of anime credits. I wouldn't be surprised if a vast majority of them were on like Tsurune, which like none of these videos these other creators are talking about. They're not talking about the latest thing that was the last TV anime they made before this happened. So that's kind of significant, right? But not a lot of people altogether liked that show, not even KyoAni fans. So not a lot of people are talking about it, but they'd rather talk about the shows they did like. I think that's really interesting, if a little dark. But then, this might be even darker still. You say that then the studio is dead, and there's no way they'll never be able to make something like this ever again. So, how is it that the deaths of these people and the people that aren't going to be able to animate ever again, you're framing them as they didn't make the shows you liked? So then, what's to say Kyoto Animation can't potentially make those shows again if the people that were affected by this weren't the ones that made it in the first place? And that's really dark, and I'm really sorry to go there, and I'm really sorry if people are like suddenly angry with me. I'm sorry. This is just a hypothetical talking point. Like, what's to stop them? I'm kind of on the side of trying to be optimistic, and not to underestimate the strength of people. And I think it's good that you're bringing this to light and really being someone to say it. And I think it's a valuable video and a decent video. E-Kon is really I almost want to say caustic, but just really thorny, hard to agree with kind of person, content creator. And I'm happy he's making his own content, by the way. Like, thank you. But like, when you have one of your actually good friends IRL telling you all the time he wants to punch you in the face, like, maybe that's just you. And he's like, that's just who he is. And like, that, okay, fair, fine. But like, if you want your point to get across to these people, like, you shouldn't be a dick about it. There's just a lot of things that I think a lot of people are going to butt heads with, and a little controversial. And not a lot of, I think a lot of people would dismiss it or not take it seriously and not learn that lesson, or hear what you're saying and think about it. They're just going to block you if you take it in these kind of cynical, Barbie kind of thorny routes. That's like not digestible. for people. I think that's really important with content creation. You have to think about trying to convey the message in a way that convinces people. I mean, not like in a way that's like convincing them the argument, like, oh, I won the debate, or like I won the argument. Just because, I hate to quote fate, just because you're correct doesn't mean you're right. As in, like, just because you're making good points doesn't mean anyone should listen to you. Lowart having another manga versus anime adaptation video, and I'll admit, I've not really watched every single one of these. I think I saw the Attack on Titan one when he first made it. I'm personally quite a fan of these comparison things, and I've done it a couple of times in my own channel. And you can find really interesting stories that way. And I love to do more in the future. I just love doing like looking at the manga and then looking at the anime and what's happening. And he does a fairly thorough job covering all the bases in a way that I wouldn't have. He really talks a lot more about what an anime can provide that a manga doesn't, which is what does the colors do, what does the music do, how are the voice acting, various animation things, and stuff that the anime specifically provides, not having to do with the adaptation of the material necessarily, which I think it makes this a little misleading. You do a little bit of that, we're talking about the humor, how it translates to the anime, and a lot of it's a mixed bag. You do this thing, and a couple other YouTubers do, a lot of YouTubers I think do this to try to not be polarizing. It feels like fence sitting, where it's like, at first I didn't like the music, and then 5 episodes in, I really liked the music. And it's like, well, why did you bring the first point up? Because your opinion clearly changed. So I'm in the frame of like, you don't like, okay, something's wrong with the music. Oh no, it's actually good. Oh, okay. So is it what? So it's real. You don't give a path for an audience to know what to think. And again, I looked for these kind of videos to see like, what's the chapter to episode ratio? What does it do with the pacing? And you very, very shortly bring that point up like instantly in the last 30 seconds of the video, where it's like, yeah, the pacing was good. The episode, yeah, they had a first episode and a last episode that was an hour long. So they did it. And it's like, but what, how did they do that? Like, what did they decide to choose? Why did they choose that? Was it a good choice? And you're like, it was a good choice. It's like, you know, that's what kind of the things about being this thorough about and covering all your bases, is that you don't end up going too much in depth to any one idea. Just fine, but just not what I'm looking for personally. And, you know, if you do this in your other videos, it's like, oh no, I did do that, what you're talking about in my Attack on Titan or my Promised Neverland video, and et cetera, fair. That's just what I was looking for in this video, and it didn't have it, so. Okay, now for the best videos of the week. Pretty good. The first one, I'm just getting a brief shout out because I'm kind of involved in it. I edited this video for Uniquenameosaurus, Understanding the Worst Girl in the World, Historia Attack on Titan. He changed the title. I just noticed that, because he said Understanding me. I think he's trying to spread this video a little more. It's not spreading too fast as he'd like, I guess. He is such a gamer of the algorithm, man. He's such a gamer. Holy crap. And he shared my video, my hosted a video at the end and got me some more subs, and I really appreciate it. But I like it. You know, I know it's kind of hard to, as a bias, but like as someone who edited it, I like the material he was talking about, and he came about in a pretty fair and balanced manner, with a fair deal of personal, like a really good balance of personal enjoyment versus like, this is good storytelling. Because I feel like a lot of creators blur that line to where there is no line, where it's like, I liked it, therefore it's amazing. Or just like, guys, it's just my opinion. It's just my opinion. It just felt, I think Unique walks that line very well, where it's like, I really like this part. This is why, you know, this, and this. This is really cool because this is this. And I don't know. It's just like very good content creator, I think. The Hentai Man, China and anime. So like, Hentai Man used to do exactly what you expected, which is review hentai. But not really. He mostly did like Should You Fab. I think he did this like Should You Fab 2 series where should you fap to like certain etchies and everything like that. And that was kind of a different idea. And he always comes up with different ideas, and I always like that. I like me some different ideas. And this is a topic not a lot of people are talking about. Granted, I don't think he went in such marvelous depth or anything like that, but it was very refreshing. It wasn't so much talking about the quality of these Chinese anime like I think a lot of people would fall into. He kind of talked about the cultural and financial implications of China getting into this business. And it was really cool, like talking about how much buying power they have, like economically, how they're, the second largest company, like how they grossed 60 million US dollars for Spirited Away because it finally aired in their country after never airing there before. And in that way, like Spirited Away overtook Your Name as the highest grossing anime film again. I didn't know that. That's so cool. And it's stuff like that where it's like, thank you for giving me information that I didn't know, and I've learned from this video. Why is that a rarity? What the fuck? And he kind of leaves an open-ended question, like, what is this going to do? Is this going to unite the two countries because they have this kind of beef going on? Is it going to make them more friendly or more of a shit show? I think it was a lot of really cool stuff like that. And it was really cool. I really liked that. I liked that video. Poor guy lost his channel a while ago, and he's been slowly trying to gain back subs, and he hasn't done anything that he conventionally did in his old channel. So, like, he's reinventing some stuff and doing some neat, unique stuff. I think this was pretty cool. Now I would say check it out. KorewaEden, Konata Lucky Star, Queen of Anitube. Now, when you put Anitube in the title, I'm clicking. And I gotta say, very interesting observation. As he comes at it from an outsider, it's like, I don't know much of this Anitube stuff. This Demolition D guy, he's before my time. What are these comments telling me I'm ripping him off? And he has a segment where he's like watching his a clip from his video, and he's like, oh shit, it's just mine but better. I really like that. The guy's a really eclectic, memey sense of humor, and has that kind of like shitpost editing style that I'm eternally jealous of. And he makes a really cool point of just like looking back on the past and what Conan actually represents as an image for that time in 2008 YouTube when ads weren't a thing as much, and it was just kind of the Wild West, and people were just, this was all people could talk about, and there's so much like of this content based around this character. And he's like, it's so weird that I seem to know so much about her despite never watching the show. And like, as much as that idea of like thinking you know the show without having watched it like gives me hives low key. I think it's a really good observation because I feel like a lot of people are like that. I remember back in, you asked the audience at the beginning of the video, try to picture yourself in 2008. What I was doing, I was watching a bunch of anime OPs without watching any of the fucking anime. Just pretending the idea of watching this stuff, but like, and that's what I would do instead of watching anything. So feeling like you know a show because you see so many people talk about it, it's relatable. It's very relatable. And this was a really cool, like really chill observation kind of idea, and something very unconventional. This is like one of the last things I would have possibly thought to make a video about. I'm not the kind of person to make this, and this is why so many people making different content is so cool. I like this more introspective from you. Instead of like kind of tongue-in-cheek, like a meme stuff, I think you have a cool perspective, and I hope you share it more, like you did here. I think this was really cool. Nice job. Digibro put out a couple bits of content, of course, as it usually does. But this caught my eye the most. Poke Thoughts, walking all of Pokemon. Now, I was going to put it in decent before I even watched it, because I knew, as much as I would have liked it, I don't feel like I should emotionally invest myself in this series, because he does this so often, especially nowadays, like in the past year or two, where he sets out on a new series and a new idea, and he doesn't follow through with it at all. Like, he does like a couple episodes and stops because it's not making him views or anything like that. Probably not necessarily that. There's plenty of other reasons, and I get like losing interest in something. But you know, when you say watch all of Pokemon, you look. The comments know this. They're like, yeah, okay, have fun, guy. You know what I mean? But I think what you did here was a really great compromise and a way to really kind of ensure that this actually might happen. And I would love this for all sorts of kinds of long running shows. I would have loved to do this for Galaxy Express 39, or Urusei Yatsura would be a really good candidate for this. Of like, basically, he just turns on a camera whenever he has an idea or something to think of, like some thought about when he's watching Pokemon, and observes it. And he has so many insights on the Pokemon anime, and as someone who had watched it before, and someone who has an understanding of the current lore, the current situation going on with Alola and XY and all that, and as someone who's like very invested in that sort of idea, like juicy content for me. Plenty of, it might not be your cup of tea or for somebody else or something. But for me, I couldn't fucking get enough of this, and I would love you to do this as much as you can. And that's, I love it, and I love this format, and I feel like I want to do it myself. But I don't, I would love to do it for fucking Naruto or One Piece or something like that. There's just so much you could do with this idea of like just turning on the camera and ranting your thoughts as like the video goes on in the background, and like you get an idea of what spot he's at. And it's not like Unknown Otaku's video where like it's just a voice. Like I feel like you can still focus on Digi's face and what he's saying. I don't know. It just wasn't as distracting for me. The way he did that there. But the way it was in Unknowns was a little like, because it's a moving thing. I think that's what it is. Is that like it's the only moving object? I guess there's a GIF in the back. I don't know. Never mind. I just had a preference. Okay, I love this Digibro video. I hope he makes more of them. Also, yeah, your anti-chart thing was much better than Joey's, bar none. And lastly, God, it's getting dark out, isn't it? Thank God I have this light of my screen. Don't worry, I don't edit like this. I swear, my eyes are okay. I have a light over there. But it just doesn't have good... Never mind. Best video of the week, in my opinion. This is something I was very excited about. Anime Mythbusters. Canipa Effect. He's back! He's back! 90% of anime all made in 3D. That classic Misty tweet. Don't we all remember and miss that one? He took this very tastefully. Didn't mention his name, even though we all knew it. And didn't really dwell on proving this guy wrong or anything like that. But it was just like, let's take this as a myth. Because clearly, he wouldn't have tweeted it, and not a lot of people would have actually... Like, there's plenty of people that were agreeing with him that didn't know any better. So he treats it as a myth. And the idea of Anime Mythbusters is such a novel idea. And he's the right person to do it too, because he's so in bed with the industry now, like talking like being in Japan and like learning all this stuff that none of us have access to. And he's just taking it from a completely different perspective that's just so informative, and he's so much better, dude. He's a great content creator right now, but he's just not making anything. Of course not. God damn it. But yeah, I mean, he brings up the same amount of information and insight and resources as you would expect from a video like this. I'm just shouting it out as something that, like, this is something he's making. He also had a call to action at the end that was like, tweet me, DM me your myths, even something you don't know. It's all going to remain anonymous. There's no animosity. Nobody's going to be fucking shat on or anything like that. It's all, like, for the purpose of information and additive experience, and so everybody wins. There's no us versus them, fucking none of that shit. Which I think is such a fucking breath of fresh air from not just, anime YouTube, but like our community in general, or just the fucking world in general. Like, Twitter has just made it so polarizing that you have to be one or the other. He's just like, let's just take this. Let's talk about it. And I hope there's more. God, I hope there's more. And it seemed easier to make, relatively, because, his stuff gets he's just like me, I think, where he just gets super overambitious of some stuff. He's just similar to Digibro too, where he starts a series and then hasn't followed up on a couple of them. At least I don't think he has. But that's something that I think he does really well, and he's a great content creator, and I'm looking forward to more from him. Excellent video. I'm super hype. In my opinion, the best video of the week, just for the promise of it, and what this means for our community as a whole, and that's something I want to champion and celebrate. Excellent job. Pretty busy week. There was actually a lot of videos that I was watching. It was like, I'm not getting anything out of this, and I could talk about it, or just kind of try to shit on it, I guess. But there was some stuff where again, the not good stuff needs to be kind of uniquely bad and something that I think could be additive to the discussion, and not just be like, what a dumb idiot. That's fun sometimes, but like, there's always, have to be selective. Gotta be good about that. And then, choosing the videos that I think are unique and different. Not just like, yeah, it was good and executed, I guess. But don't just, I don't know, because there's a lot of that kind of content. So I want to make a selection that's special. So I hope you are enjoying the selection so far. Let me know any questions, comments. What the hell am I talking? Leave a like. I don't give a fuck. Yeah, have a good week. Yo, peace.